everyone. Yesterday was a day of grieving, and I grieved. I cried all over the bar while I was working, commiserated with women. We were whispering to each other about our pain because we didn't know what the men at the other end of the bar thought. And I was loudly yelling with women about how fucked we are. And we were making jokes about being sent to the camps and shit. But they're not jokes. And today is a day for accepting reality and taking action. What I can contribute, my biggest skill, is research about MAGA. I am so fascinated with them that I'm able to stomach listening to them for 4 hours every day for the past decade. I listen to right-wing radio on my way to work. I watch House hearings on days off. As you all know, I watch a lot of Trump rallies. I've never been to a Trump rally because I can't afford to do that, but I watch them, and I listen to interviews on RSBN with people in the crowd. So what I can offer is a little bit of clarity and insight about what's to come. Not because I can tell the future, but because this is my skill. Some of you are probably really good at cooking, or making jewelry, or are athletes, or whatever, but I am an expert in the MAGAverse, and all the weird, dark shit that conservatives want. And I want to share that skill with you so that you all are prepared. And there are plenty of people, marginalized people from all different groups that are living in red states who know what is happening, who are experiencing it on a daily basis already. But there are a lot of people out there who are completely ignorant to what is coming, whether it's privilege, living in a safe blue state, or complete apathy of the world around them. A lot of people just don't know. And this is for you guys. I've been talking a lot about the authors of Project 2025 to try and prove that they're connected to Trump, but in the wake of Trump's nightmarish win, MAGA freaks are coming out in droves to show their support. They're saying stuff like this. Matt Walsh said yesterday, now that the election is over, I think we can finally say that, yeah, actually Project 2025 is the agenda. LOL. And he claims he's joking. I never lied. I said all along that Project 2025 is the agenda. I even made a website dedicated to it, project2025.com. And the website is a joke. It's nonsense. And so he's playing it off like this is all a joke. He's just kidding around. But it's not a joke. It's not a joke. Even Steve Bannon talked about it on his War Room podcast. And Steve Bannon is being floated as a possible chief of staff in the Trump presidency. They're laughing at you, MAGA. They're laughing at everybody who believed that Trump was going to fix grocery prices and that everything was going to be great under him. So in the spirit of we need to prepare for every possible outcome, I'm going to read the foreword to Project 2025, written by Kevin Roberts, who was one of the first people to congratulate Trump on his win, and he's the president of the Heritage Foundation. This was his statement yesterday. We look forward to this historic term during which President Trump has an opportunity to make America great, healthy, safe, and prosperous once again. The entire conservative movement stands united behind him as he prepares to secure our wide-open border, restore the rule of law, put parents back in charge of their children's education, restore America to its proper place as a leader in manufacturing, and put families and children first, and dismantle the deep state. And those all sound like good things, but they're just buzzwords for the most terrifying policy proposals you've ever heard. The only way out of this nightmare is through, and the only way we get through it is if people know what's coming. If they prepare in their own lives and in their communities to protect those that the Trump administration are going to target. But the intro alone, it lays out the groundwork, and it doesn't mince words for what we can expect in a future Trump and J.D. Vance administration. Let's get into it. Foreword's called A Promise to America by Kevin Roberts. 44 years ago, the United States and the conservative movement were in dire straits. Both had been betrayed by Washington establishment and were uncertain whom to trust. Both were internally splintered and strategically adrift. Worse still, at that moment of acute vulnerability and division, we found ourselves besieged by existential adversaries, foreign and domestic. The late 1970s were by any measure a historic low point for America and the political coalition dedicated to preserving its unique legacy of human flourishing and freedom. Today, America and the conservative movement are enduring an era of division and danger akin to the late 1970s. Now, as then, our political class has been discredited by wholesale dishonesty and corruption. Look at America under the ruling and cultural elite today. Inflation is ravaging family budgets, drug overdose deaths continue to escalate, and children suffer the toxic normalization of transgenderism with drag queens and pornography invading their school libraries. Overseas, a totalitarian communist dictatorship in Beijing is engaged in a strategic, cultural, and economic Cold War against America's interests, values, and people, all while global elites in Washington awaken only slowly to that growing threat. Moreover, low-income communities are drowning in addiction and government dependence. Contemporary elites have even repurposed the worst ingredients of 1970s radical chic to build the totalitarian cult known today as the Great Awakening. And now, as then, the Republican Party seems to have little understanding about what to do. Most alarming of all, the very moral foundations of our society are in peril. Yet students of history will note that notwithstanding all those challenges, the late 1970s proved to be the moment when the political right unified itself and the country and led the United States to historic political, economic, and global victories. The Heritage Foundation is proud to have played a small but pivotal role in that story. It was in the early 1979, amid stagflation, gas lines, and the Red Army's invasion of Afghanistan, the nadir of Jimmy Carter's days of malaise, that Heritage launched the Mandate for Leadership project. We brought together hundreds of conservative scholars and academics across the conservative movement. Together, this team created a 20-volume, 3,000-page governing handbook containing more than 2,000 conservative policies to reform the federal government and rescue the American people from Washington dysfunction. It was a promise from the conservative movement to the country, confident, specific, and clear. Mandate for Leadership, the first one, was published in January 1981. The same month, Ronald Reagan was sworn into his presidency. By the end of that year, more than 60% of its recommendations had become policy. And Reagan was on his way to ending stagflation, reviving American confidence and prosperity, and winning the Cold War. The bad news today is that our political establishment and cultural elite have once again driven America toward decline. The good news is that we know the way out, even though the challenges today are not what they were in the 1970s. Conservatives should be confident that we can rescue our kids, reclaim our culture, revive our economy, and defeat the American left at home and abroad. We did it before, and we will do it again. As Ronald Reagan put it, freedom is a fragile thing, and it's never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by way of inheritance. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation. I actually agree with you there, Reagan, but you were the one that took freedoms away, so. This is the duty history has put before us, and the standard by which our generation of conservatives will be judged. And we should not we should not want it any other way. The legacy of Mandate for Leadership, and indeed of the entire Reagan revolution, is that if conservatives want to save the country, we need a bold and courageous plan. This book is the first step in that plan. There is 14 more pages in that intro that I will get to. But that should send chills down your spine. This is the plan. It has always been the plan. Prepare yourselves.